All right, this is critical path analysis example. We got from an old exam, fall 2016, and this is exam 1 for that year because they had this topic covered before their exam 1. So we're going to get the information on with your help, and we're going to do critical path analysis. If you want to stop me at any time, please do so. Otherwise, I will do the first task. It's A, and earliest start for A would be day 0. Early finish would be early start plus duration 6. I'm going to do task B as well. Task B and A are independent, meaning that they can be completed in parallel. They don't depend on each other. So B is taking 4 days, and early start for B would still be day 0 because nothing before it should happen. So it can start right away, and early finish would be start plus duration 4. So I will put C here, and I will put D here probably, and I will ask someone to help us fill the information that's needed for those. And then we have E. This is E. I'm going to ask from the list I see in front of me. I have, let me first maximize this page. And this is the first one on my list is Alex. Go ahead, Alex. D, B, C, and D, please. Alex, are you able to work on my computer? Yes, no? Alex? I don't hear any response from you, Alex. I'm gonna go to Colin. Colin, it's on you. Let me see. Colin, just a second, let me see. Okay, I can read the chat later. Go ahead, Colin. Unmute yourself, explain what you're doing.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, B, C, and D.
So I'm doing E and D. How about C?
B, C, D, and E, yes.
Okay, so C depends on B. So that means the early start will be 4 because that's the early finish of B. And then the duration for C looks like it's 3. So that would make the early finish 7. And then D depends on A and C. The early finish for C is higher than the early finish of A.
So can you put the arrows so we can see what you mean? Put the arrows first and then explain. Thank you.
Okay. So C depends on B, so B needs to finish first. And then D is going to depend on A and C. So you can have an arrow here and an arrow here. And then since 7 is the higher number here, the early start will be 7. And the duration is 2. So the early finish here will be 9. And then E depends on D. So we'll put in, grab an arrow. And this just depends on this. And this one depends on D. So the early start will be 9. The duration is 6. So that means the early finish will be 15.
Well done, Colin. Thank you. Thanks so much, Colin. I'm gonna add a few more tasks and I'm gonna go to the next person on my list. Okay, I got your message, Alex. So next one would be G or F. F, it could stay here. That's F. And from F, we go to G and H. G. And I'm gonna move things up a little bit. So as I move things around to make sure our solution fits into one page, feel free to review the diagram one more time and be ready to participate in different parts of the solution. So I'm gonna place F here, maybe, yes. And then I'm gonna put G and H here, G and H, G here, H here. And I will ask next one of you on my list. So the list I see when I want to give access, it's the order is different from what I see on the screen. So Cliff, you're the next. You're going to have control, add information for F, G, and H, please.
Okay, so F depends on C.
Do the arrows first, please.
Okay. So that is, F is 2. The early start is going to be 7.
Yes.
And then that's going to be 9 for the finish.
Perfect.
And then G depends on F. And then that is 10. 9 goes for the early start. And then 19 will go there for the finish.
Yes.
And then H depends on F as well. That has a duration of 6. 9 will go there. And then 15 will be the finish.
Exactly. Thank you, Kelly. Well done. So I will have to add I, J, and end of phase. So I would get one of these and make sure it's clear. So that's going to be I, depending on B. That's tricky. I will add a red line. No, a red line. So that we get this one done without having to change the layout drastically. And I'm gonna make it this way. Hopefully that helps. H, I, and J. I will ask one of you to do the J. J depends on E, G, and H. I think that's doable. And then we will have an end of phase here. I think we can do that. So I will ask the next one of you on my list. That would be Madison. Go ahead, do I, J, and end of phase, please.
Okay. I is 12. The dependency is already there. The early start of I is 4, and then the early finish is 16,
Exactly.
and then J, the duration is 3, the early start is,
Go ahead, add the arrows first.
oh yeah, so it's dependent to B.
E and J depends on E, G,
Oh
and
yeah.
H.
E, E, G, and H. The early start is 19, and the early finish is 22.
Exactly.
And then EOP depends on J and I.
Mm-hmm.
And then the early start is 22. The early finish is 22.
Exactly.
Duration is 0.
Yes. Thank you so much, Madison. Well done. Well done, group. I'm gonna, oh, I meant to share the whole picture. So I just wanted to ask you all to scan the diagram one more time and tell me where do you think the critical path is? I'm gonna do this blue or green because I don't want you to confuse it with the critical path. So this is 22. Obviously the critical path must be 22. Which side it's coming on? It's coming on this side. On the exam, I'll try to give you a smaller diagram so it would be easier. I think it's going this way. Let's see. This one this way. Are we going correctly? Is this? Let's see.
I see. Instead of
B
starting at
instead
the
of D.
beginning and
Yeah.
going forward and choosing the big numbers, you have to start at the end and go backward and choose all the big numbers.
So which one would that be?
B instead of D.
B here.
Yep.
So 4 plus 3, 7 plus 2, 9, 19. Yes, this is the critical path. So all the activities on the critical path would be called critical activities, no slack. Let's see what the question says. What's the minimum time to complete this project, Mihal?
The minimum time would be 22.
Exactly. What is the slack for task D? We don't know that yet. What if task E takes 1 day less? Probably it doesn't impact the project because it's non-critical. But I want us to do late finish and late start to calculate the slack for task D. That's the more important question. So I'm gonna say we're gonna finish the project on the same time that we have identified as the minimum amount of time. Going back, this one becomes something. So I'm gonna go to the next one on my list. It's gonna be Mihal, it's you. So you do I, J, and H. Do the late finish, late start, please. So let's finish 22 is the smaller amount, the latest start of what comes after it. As we see, there is some slack for I. There is some slack for task H. 19 minus 6 is 13. Perfect. I think that's all I asked you. So great. So when you look at this side, go from the end to the beginning, you look at what comes after a given task. So if A has B1, B2, B1 has latest start of 3, B2 has latest start of 5. The late finish of your A current task would be the smaller number. It would be 3. So you get the smaller numbers when you go from the end to the beginning. You get the larger numbers when you go from the beginning to the end. So Valentin, it's you now. Go ahead, do F, G, and H, please.
I'm a little lost. Can you re-explain the late start, late finish?
Late finish, when you look at a task like E, what depends on E? J. What is the latest start of J? Is 19. You put 19 as the late finish of A because that's the latest J can start. That would be the latest E can finish. But we're gonna look at another one. Okay, 19, and then late start becomes 19 minus duration, which is 30. If you had more than one task that was coming after E, depending on E, you would get the smaller latest start of the two, or the smallest latest start of all that depend on this one. So G has J coming, and the latest start for J is 19. That's the latest J can start, so it would be the latest G can finish, exactly. For H also it's J, that's the latest J can start in 19. Yes, this one has been done. F, let's go to F. So that is an interesting example, Valentin. F has G and H. One is latest starting 9, the other 13. You get the smaller number.
So
Because,
13.
yes, 9. No, 9, the smaller number. So G needs F to be done by day 9 because that's the latest G can start, day 9. So the latest F can finish is 9. It cannot wait till 13. So that's why you get the smaller number, because the other activity needs this one earlier. So go ahead, do C as well, Valentin. Okay, I'm sorry.
Would be 9 and 6.
Exact 9 minus.
Yeah.
No, what comes? Why
Is it 7 and 4?
No, no, it shouldn't be. You are doing the calculations correctly, but I wonder why this is critical and giving us some slack. So class, what did we do wrong with our critical path? Because this is giving us 9. So what depends on C? D only. Oh, Valentin, I know where the confusion comes from. You have to do D first. Sorry about that. Go ahead, do D first because D also depends on C. D
13,
has 13,
12.
exactly. And then 13 minus 2 is 11. Still,
Oh, yeah.
but still this is not correct. You're doing it correctly based on what I told you, but it seems that the critical path has not been highlighted correctly. So go ahead, put the numbers, and then I'll try to diagnose what we did wrong. So what did we do wrong? Let's see. No, you are doing it correctly, Valentin, just so you know, but there is something inconsistent here because we said this task is critical, but right now we're finding out that it has some slack. That means we've made a mistake somewhere. So class, you and all of you together, we have to figure out what we did wrong. Did we have to go the other way? IB, no. This one, did we have to go any other? Did we have to go this way? 6, 2, 8, 6, 14, no. Did we have
For
to?
C, wouldn't you take F's numbers? So the late
Yes.
start would be the late finish. So you put 7 there and then 7.
Oh, yes. Oh, thank you. I'm happy you got that. So Valentin, you and I both were looking at this number and this number, but we have to look at the latest start. So we have to thank you, Cliff. So we look at 7 from F and 11 from D. So if we get the smaller, that's 7. So Valentin, did you notice where we made the mistake? Does it make sense now?
Yeah.
We were reading the wrong numbers. So we had to read this number, latest start of F and latest start of D. So that's not consistent because this is critical and it shouldn't have any slack.
Shouldn't that be 4?
4, thank you. So last 2, let's see who is on the list to do the last 2. Tony, you're next. Go ahead, do A, B, please.
Okay. So, okay, there it goes. Okay, taking the 11 from D and subtracting 6 to make it 5.
Yes.
Okay, and going down to B and taking C's 4,
Yes.
subtracting the 4, and it coming out to 0.
Great. Thank you, Tony. Thanks, everyone. We completed the example with the numbers. Now, if you look at this, task D has 4 days of slack. You could look at the difference between these two, or alternatively, these two. So the slack is 4, and if task E takes 1 day less, if task E takes 1 day less, what happens? It doesn't.
Would it be 5 instead of 4? Because 11 minus 6 is 5.
What?
For A, or to get the slack, would it be 5 instead of 4, or is it 4? I'm a little confused. So you
The
subtract.
difference between 7 and 11 is 4, yes?
Okay, I thought you were calculating the difference between the early start and the late start.
Is it not 7? Or am I?
From A, where it's 0 and 5.
Oh, it's asking for D in the question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're correct. I haven't done that. So here, we're gonna do 5 here. This is 4. This is 6. And this is 4. So these are the slack and the number of days that you have for all of those non-critical activities. It says task E takes 1 day less. Task is non-critical. If it takes 1 day less, it wouldn't impact the project completion time. It doesn't make your project any faster unless you do any of the techniques. You put resources from E on your critical activities. If you do that, and if you can decrease the duration of B, C, F, G, J, any of them by 1, then you can expedite the project. But the standard answer would be, this is non-critical, it doesn't impact the project completion time. The more elaborate answer, it could impact if I pick the resources from this and put it on my critical activities. Any of these would be acceptable. in general, my students would usually get the first version. So this file is saved, class. If you have any questions, go ahead, ask me. I'm gonna find an exam with other questions so we can go over some of the other types of questions that you expect to see in your short answer section. Probably for that, I would need to get to my newer exams. So I'm going to open a newer exam. This is fall 2016. Fall 2016, I'm going to go to spring 2018, probably exam 2. And we'll see what we have. Yes, we have a good selection here. I'm gonna go to spring 2018, and I'm gonna make sure it's Zoom because we're gonna do the solutions and share them on ReggieNet. Zoom on 420 for 2003. All right, I'm gonna share this new file with you. That's a new exam. I asked you to work on fall 2018. This is another exam. So I'm gonna stay here. Maybe we're gonna skip earned value analysis because we very recently worked on that. I'm gonna start with this one, which is considered a little bit simpler. So go ahead, class, you have 1 minute to work on this. And then I'll ask some of you to share with me. Imagine this is your exam. All right, anyone who wants to share? A, B, C, which one is which? Anyone? I am going to write. What is A? Let's see who hasn't talked yet. Valentin just talked. Tony just talked. Alex cannot talk. Tianyuan, what is A?
I think that A is a scheduled verse.
Schedule variance, the difference between earned value. A is the gap, vertical gap, earned value.
Oh, the long. Okay, the longer. Yeah, maybe it's cost. Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that is, thank you, Tianyuan. You remember things well. So who wants to go next? I think I colored this. Who wants to go next? What's the next thing? I'm gonna write down a very quick comment here so that we all know what Tianyuan was talking about. And I'm gonna use a design. So cost variance was the difference between EV and AC, and that's what's shown in the picture for A. Isa, what is B?
B would be your schedule variance.
B is a schedule variance. Schedule variance is the difference between EV and PV. That's what you see in the picture. Well done, both of you. And I'm gonna write down here schedule. What is C? Isa, maybe you go for the next one too.
Cost variance.
See, no, it's not cost variance. So see, look here. When I stay at time T2, which is here, this is T2. Going up, the
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say behind time.
behind time, exactly. So at time T2, I'm at earned value here. But going back to cross the planned value curve, my planned value curve is telling me that I should have earned this much, or I should have completed this much work at time T1. So it's behind time, measuring time really. Because the schedule variance, it tells you behind time, but it's in terms of dollar value. How much is the value of the work that you haven't done yet? It doesn't tell you about the time you lost, the money you lost. Now, behind time is that thing. So this is probably one question on your exam, and if you see it, you may not get the phrases, all right? So make sure you understand how those things work. This one, I gave you an example last time, so I'm gonna get my orange box, and I'm gonna ask you to start working on this question and give me your answer. You're gonna have 1 minute, and then I'm gonna go from the top of my list because everyone so far has talked already. So to ask you to do it first step and then second step. Go ahead, think about it for a minute. All right, I'm gonna go from the top. Who is first? Colin, you're first because Alex is on cell phone. What's the first step?
I'm a little confused on what it's asking for the first step.
What's the first thing you would do?
Oh, well, it looks like team 3 has been doing the best. So if it's asking
These
which,
are not teams. This is a team, one single team.
gotcha.
And the velocity trend shows their performance over time. Sprint 1 through sprint 4, each showing the number of story points that the team has completed.
Okay, yeah, it looks like the most amount of points we completed were in sprint 3, and it looks like we had a pretty big downfall in sprint 4.
So if you had a team, do you go by maximum they can do? Do you go by minimum they can do? Or do you go by another number? You want to just look at their history and get the maximum they can do and give them the maximum possible?
No.
Minimum?
It's probably at the minimum.
Do you want to go minimum, really?
No, not minimum.
Is there another measure we can use?
Probably. I don't know the name of it. Let me,
Maybe the average. So the idea is that in Agile, you don't want to overwhelm your team. So you're going to look at the average. That's the information you have. You know, on average, they can do this much. Go ahead. How much they can do? You have control.
Oh. So do we just take the average from their sprints on the last one?
Go ahead, open parentheses and write the numbers 10 plus 12 plus 16 plus 6.
Okay. Oops. That's all divided by 4.
I think the total is 44. The average is 11.
That's gonna come out to 11.
Yes, perfect. That's good, Colin. I'm gonna go to another classmate of yours for the next step. Cliff, What's the next step? Do you remember from last time?
I don't remember the second step. I remember how to do the first one, but not the second one.
See, this you have really good tricks, everyone. So if I ask you for the first step, you would say, I know the second. No, I'm trusting you. So the second step is you take items from the top of your backlog. Why? Why do you do that? Because the backlog is a prioritized list. Prioritized list. So you have to take from the top of the list. Excuse me for a moment, so I make sure my university email is closed so we don't get this notification. Sorry about that, everyone. So here I'm back. So which user stories will you pick, Cliff? Go ahead, highlight them. That's your backlog.
What stories I will pick?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. The first one is this story. It has 4 story points. And I'm gonna, if this allows me, I'm gonna highlight this. So this is the first user story I'm gonna pick and assign to my team. And then his story is telling me that the team can achieve about 11 story points during a sprint. That's the velocity, the average velocity. So okay. What would you do next?
Number 2.
Yes. That's 5 total.
And then numbers 3. And then number 5.
Exactly. That adds up to 11. Good job. So the 2 ideas that we're using here, first of all, you want to know your team and assign work based on what they can do. Using average is a good idea. So the first step is to do the average. The second step is to make sure you understand backlog is a prioritized list. The items at the top, they have higher priority. You pick items, making sure you don't go over your capacity. That's why we pick 1, 2, and 3, adding up to 10, and then we skip 4 because that's too much work. We go to 5. So well done, team. Go ahead. I'm gonna ask you to read this burned down chart, and I'm gonna give you a bunch of boxes to put over that instead of circles, showing different things that it asks you to show. Maybe I just get the big one. So go ahead, read as I create the small box for you to put over. So this is the box I want. This is box number 1. And then we have 2 more. Instead of circling, you're gonna use these boxes. All right, who is gonna give me number 1? Circle a time frame during which the team is going slower than the speed shown by dotted ideal progress line. Let me look at my list. Who is next? So Cliff was the last one. Madison, you're the first one. What's happening here? Team going slower than the ideal line. Go ahead, pick the box that says 1 and put it on that time frame that you think team is going slower.
So move the box. Like
yes. Yeah. Yeah, instead of circle, we're using boxes. Yes.
Okay, so we said last week normally like the project starts slower. So it would probably be like the first 4 points.
Normally it starts slower, but you have to know it as a fact here because 123 story points over 10 days is 12.3 a day. And then you're doing, I'm gonna ask here, you're doing Do I have this shared with everyone? So you're doing a little less than that here. So it's doing 10 story points. So you are slower. As a fact, it's not because normally projects are slower. This is a slower. The next one is a little faster. This one is a slower. So if you put the box here or there, both are correct answers. And if I ask you on exam, you didn't have a box or a circle, you would say between day 3 and 4, that would be day. So this is day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. I try to give you days as number. So go ahead. The next one on my list is Mihal. Go ahead, move the box that says 2 to a time frame during which the team is going faster than the speed shown. Yes, they're going much faster toward the end. And that's right, getting a lot more done. I'm going to the next one of you on the list, and that's Valentin. Go ahead, move box number 3 to a time frame shown. Oh, okay, that's an answer. Is the team behind the schedule or ahead of a schedule during this whole time? Maybe you can tell me, I can write.
Would it be behind schedule?
Why is that so?
Because they don't cross the path with the dotted line.
Exactly. So I'm gonna say behind the schedule. They don't. Make this a bit smaller so we can say what we need to say, because they never cross the ideal curve or line or go under it. They're always above the ideal line. Perfect, class. You did well on this question. So go ahead. I'm going to get my text box with the formatting we need. I'm going to get to another question here. And that's this one. So go ahead, do the cycle or the velocity for me for the first question. I'm gonna give control to Valentin, just did Tony. Go ahead, do velocity here. It says the average cycle time is 2.5 days per story. Now, how much they can achieve if they had 10 working days? That would be your velocity. So go ahead, write in the orange box, please.
Okay.
Velocity equals to a number. Show me the calculations as well.
2.5 days per 2.5 days per story. Is that 10 divided by 2.5?
Exactly.
Which is, let's see, 10 divided by 2.5, which is 4.
Exactly. Thank you, Tony. Well done. I'm gonna get back control. Okay, give me a little bit of time. Here, when we say velocity is the amount of the number of story points you can actually finish during that work period. And as Tony did, you have 10 days. On average, you need 2.5 days per story. That means you get 4 stories done during the working period. So stories per iteration. So well done, Tony. I'm gonna ask another question. And that's the other one you see here. This is giving you the velocity and asking you for a cycle time. I need this to go down a little bit. So, and then this one, please, was it a line? Yes, it can go down. So go ahead. Who do I have? Tianyuan, can you write or are you on the phone? Oh, you can write. You did write already.
Yeah, I can do that.
Perfect. So in 10 days, you could finish 15 stories. So keep in mind, Cycle time is about time. So you put the time as denominator. You put the time at the top. So in 10 days, you got 15 done. Yes. How much on average took a single one of those? 0.67 of a day. So less than a day. Perfect. 67. Perfect. Thank you, Tianyuan. You take back control here. As Tianyuan had written, it's your average. This is average, class. Don't get confused. It doesn't mean that every story will be done in less than a day. This is on average. If you look at all 15 stories, on average, less than a day. Maybe one of them took 2 days, one of them took a quarter of a day. So there is variation. We're just looking at the average. Good job, class. I'm going to go to the next question, which is supposed to be an easy one, unless you've forgotten all about Fibonacci sequence and planning poker. So let's see. Because the other class section, they told me they've forgotten. Isa, it's telling us that story A is 5, B 3, C 1, and D 2. And story A, what we know is that it's more complex than all of these. So what number would you assign to story A as an estimate of its complexity? Three. So if it's telling you it's more complex, would you not need to give a higher number? Any other guesses, Isa? So remember, story points, they show relative complexity, and I'm telling you, E is more complex than all stories sized before. It's more complex than A, B, C, and D. So when you say 3, it means that it's as complex as B and less complex than A. So any other numbers comes to mind? Let me explain something really quickly. So this is based on planning poker using Fibonacci sequence. That was the key here. And when I say Fibonacci, these are the numbers we use for sizing. 1, so you know Fibonacci sequence, I have to repeat 1. So you add the two numbers, 5, 8, 13, so on. So story E, because it's more complex than all sized before, it would be 8 or 13. If you told me 8 or 13, you would get credit for it. The number should be higher. If you remember, we watched a video about story points. So it's just relative complexity, and it should give a higher number to a more complex user story. Isham, I need you to go. Okay, bye. Okay. All right, class. Just a moment of pause here. I'm back. Let's see who has an answer for this one. This is a more recent example. Isa, can you unmute and tell me if you agree with me, giving 8 or 13?
Yeah, I see it now. I understand.
Okay, great. So who is ready? Mihal, have you talked already about this exam?
Yes, I have.
So then I have to start from top of my list. Alex cannot talk. Colin, it's back to you again. What's your suggestion here? Do they understand WIP limit, these people? Examine the trend of WIP. Is the progress in work completed consistent with the WIP limit concept? So what is the WIP limit concept? Limit work in progress. Yes,
Yes.
related to the pool system. Whoa. System meaning members, pick features. When you're ready to talk, Colin, you can talk.
Okay. Give me 1 second.
So you basically idea is that you don't want to overwhelm your team. You want to reduce task switching.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? This is okay?
It looks like
It could be an opinion. You and I could disagree.
yeah, based on how much they have completed and how much they have started, it doesn't look like they're too overworked.
So it's not too. So the color band, the purple. You're looking at the purple color
Yeah.
band. Yes.
Yes. I'd say based on like how much they have completed and how much they started, it doesn't look like they're too overworked. It looks like they should be able to.
So not too overworked.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bother you that at the beginning they have a wider work in progress section? Do you think they were just learning about the team?
Yeah.
At the beginning, maybe they didn't know
Yeah, maybe.
the
Yeah, that's good.
features.
You slow it down a bit at first, just so everyone could get accustomed with each other. But towards the later weeks, it definitely dies down quite a bit.
Good job. So that is a good explanation. So toward the end, it gets better. So make sure you see my secret message here. Toward the end, they get better. So, good. And then if one of you said, no, I don't like, they were overwhelmed at the beginning, that answer would also be acceptable because there is a widening that's happening. You may say it's okay. You may say, no, it doesn't seem they know it. I would go with Colin's answer. I like the logic. They didn't know at the beginning maybe how complex the features were, or they overestimated their capabilities, but toward the end, they became better. So this question, we did this one, we did this one, we did. I'm gonna go to the one, the weighted shortest job first. And I'm gonna ask one of you again to tell me about this question. What will be, okay. First of all, what is the ideal sequence that give us the minimum cost, ideal sequence of doing A, B, and C. Who is ready to do that? This is weighted shortest job first, another question on your exam. So I'm gonna obviously go to the next one on my list. Cliff, you are next. This is weighted shortest job first. Go ahead, what is the ideal sequence?
Shoot.
So here, I'm gonna tell you, this is weight, based on weights. Weight is the cost of delay over duration, a number for each activity. You calculate the numbers, the higher the weight, the higher the priority. So let's calculate the weights. So write weight.
So put the, so A,
So write, and first of all, give it a title, weight. So weight. Go to the next line. A colon, what's the weight for A?
so that'd be 10 divided by 4.
Exactly. Perfect. Go to the next line. B.
B would equal 9 divided by 6, which is 1.5. Oops.
And C?
It won't go down. There it goes. It's not letting me write.
Oh, are you the one who does that to my computer? Stops writing. Somebody did that last time too. I don't know what is in Windows. I don't know what is it. Because then I cannot write, you cannot write until I think until I restart. Unless somebody knows a solution. What is in Windows that's happening to us? This is, I think, the second time in your section.
Huh. I'm not too sure.
There might be a short cut solution. I don't have it. Anybody knows why we're not able to write? Let me stop sharing. Even stop sharing didn't work for me last time. I had to just close everything. I think I had to restart. What key is pressed? I don't know. I can't write in my computer again. Anybody has a solution? Wants to unmute themselves?
Is it just in Word or?
No,
is
it's
there-
just I can't use my keyboard anymore.
Are
Are
you
you
on a
able to share it
laptop?
to a different person?
I can share. Let me try. I can't. Okay, I can find the file and share it.
Are you on a laptop with a touchscreen?
Touch screen. I know.
Okay, because sometimes it'll lock it where like you just use the keypad on the screen, but that doesn't seem
No,
like
I'm not. But last time, maybe it was not your section. Maybe it was the other section. But the same thing happened. And I didn't Google what. I could have probably Googled and see what is the problem. I don't have a keyboard now, but I restarted. So let me share with one of you and see if you can do anything. I think we tried last time. Nobody could do anything with this file. And then I had to use one of your files. You had to go to one of your computers to finish our session. So I'm going to share with you, Mihal, see if you can write. Can you write?
Doesn't look like you can.
Okay, so I think the least costly solution, unless somebody Googles and finds the shortcut solution, the least costly solution for us to look at this, look at task number C. What is the weight for C, Isa?
The weight for C will be 9/3, which will equal 3.
Okay, then what order will we go by?
It will be B, A, C.
Exactly. So I'm trying to see what happened. Okay. Okay, I think I may have find, let's see, no. Oh, I'm gonna, so what is the solution again? Isa, I'm sorry, I was distracted trying to see if I can fix this.
B, A, C.
B is 2 point, no, you go with the higher number. C
Oh, high number. Okay,
is
so
3.
C, A, B.
C, A, B, yes. I am, oh, I see. Okay, now what did it do?
So for shortest job first, you just go for the highest number then.
Exactly. The highest number, the highest the priority. Okay. We're still not able to write.
I wasn't even able to right click or like get the cursor down at all.
Yeah, there is, when I click on the right side of my screen, there are a bunch of settings. One of them is related to keyboard, and I think Cliff just briefly touched that area. But, oh, okay, I messed up. So, but we're gonna just use the, some of you can open a Word document, copy these numbers so we can work off of these numbers, and then finish this example, and then we let you do earned value analysis at home. So anybody is, I'm gonna write down the numbers, see the durations, and then what Cliff did was give us A, B, and C, weights 2.5, 1.5, and 3, and then we'll take it from here. Go ahead, Colin, go. Can you open a Word document in your device and share it with me? And then we just do what we needed to do for finishing this session. I'll finish up the document and I'll send you after I'm done. Colin, can you do that?
Yeah, so I got a little sidetracked. What do you need me to do again?
Just a document, share it with everyone.
Okay.
I have a document already made if
Oh,
Colin
Issa, you have
can't
it?
do it.
So,
I have a blank document.
so let's see what Issa has. Maybe he's more ready. Issa, what do you have? Share it. Oh, great. Perfect. Oh, perfect. That's great. Can you make it a little bigger? So let's see where we left with Cliff. So Cliff did the weights, and Issa told us CAB is the best. So we're going to calculate the cost associated with CAB, which is the ideal sequence, with a random one, which would be BCA. So BCA. Okay, if you remember, Issa, we created a table. We would create a table with 5 rows and a bunch, maybe 7 columns. 5 rows and 7 columns.
Was that the task and wait time?
Exactly. Go ahead, insert the table.
Okay, let's see. It's like Zoom is like blocking the top part. Okay, there we go. Is there specific dimensions?
5 rows, 7 columns. That would work best. Just go ahead, add any table, and then we increase the rows and columns. Okay, first one would be task, exactly, wait time, and cost of delay. Perfect. And then go ahead, add another row. And same thing would be repeated 2 times. Yes. So everyone pay attention. I think we have a good replacement for my document. I will complete my document and I will Google to see what happens with my keyboard and the Windows setting, which is very interesting. So first one, oh no, I don't need that many. I just needed one more row. One more row.
Oh, okay.
Insert. You have to select a row and then right click. Select the whole row. Perfect. Perfect. So put task A. What was the ideal? No, was, sorry, CAB was the ideal. CAB. And the last row would be total. And then go on the other side, task, that's the random sequence B, C, A, and then total at the bottom. Perfect. All right, so wait time for C in the first scenario would be 0. Cost, and for A would be cost is 0. A has to wait for C. C's duration is 3. So add 3 and 3 times cost of delay for A. Cost of delay for A is 10. 3 times 10, 30, perfect. And then for B, the wait time for the duration of A and C, which is 7. And the cost of delay for B is 9. 7 times 9, 56. Total would be 86. Perfect. But when we do a random sequence like we did with B, C, and A, B wait time would be 0. Cost would be 0. C has to wait for B. B is taking 6 days according to my notes. 6 times delay, cost of delay 9, 6 times 9. Exactly. A has to wait for B and C, total of 9 days. And the cost of delay for A is 10 days, 9 times 10. That's 144. Perfect. So this is what we wanted to do on my system. Isa did it on his system. Thank you, Isa. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Cliff. Together, we've done this. The first step again is to calculate weight by dividing cost of delay and duration. The higher the weight, the higher the priority. Your ideal sequence, as Isa is highlighting, would be ideal sequence of, it's down, yes, CAB. Make sure you highlight that. This is just a random sequence, BCA. So the ideal is CAB, the one at the top. Random, yes. Just a little bit here. You have it. Just the line above the random. No, that's, give me control.
Oh, yeah, that'll be easier.
So here. So this was indeed random. Oh, I can't write, I forgot. So BCA is random, so make sure you understand that.
So I just put random here.
Yes.
Okay.
The one just above it, just above that line. No, down there, don't move up.
Oh, okay.
That one, just CAB, you see? That is the idea. Yes. Perfect. So this is ideal because it puts the higher weights, gives the higher weight, higher priority. Great. And then that is I just do a question mark. Yeah, what is the ideal sequence? So you, and then I may give you 2 different scenarios to compare. In this case, I gave you the ideal scenario and a random scenario. And then you look at the wait time, the number of days a given task has to wait, multiply that by the cost of delay. Well done, very well done. I'm gonna go back and look at these numbers, and then I'm just gonna go back and show everyone where we were. This was, thank you, Isa, thank you so much. This was what Isa has done. We'll go to this document, which is from spring 2018, exam 2. So I'm gonna add the calculation after I get my keyboard back. Together with the recording, I will put that on Regina. So I did spring 2018 with you. I did fall 2017 with the other section. So feel free to go back and forth. I will post the documents for both of them. And earned value analysis is the more recent one. I believe we've done so many examples. I felt comfortable you can do this, but work on this and then we'll get back to it on Wednesday. Between now and Wednesday, any questions, email me. Again, the videos will be up. Do you have any questions? No questions? I know I have some emails from some of you about your discussion 1 grades. I'll get to them. I have to look at my records for that. But discussion 1 has been graded. I think Cliff was following up on that a few weeks ago. So those have been graded, discussion 2 and 3, they will be graded soon as well.
So when I check the grade, it says the